There is only one place in Egypt where you can study journalism, and that is the American University in Cairo. So in October 1951, I went to the chairman of the journalism department, Mr. Blomberg, and he said, I'll give you 3 topics. If you write them well, I'll accept you. The 3rd topic was Cairo, the city of sin and minarets.
This is a place where young people from around the world to gain a deeper knowledge and appreciation of Arab history, of the culture, the religion, the politics of Egypt and of the Middle East.
The American University in Cairo started out with a lot of drive and energy and prospects in the beginning of the 20s.
And it was by sheer force of personality and the dedication of Watson and others committed to establish an American style of education in a completely different cultural and social environment.
The essential commitment to service in Egypt and the region has not changed in the 90 years. And that's the story of the institution.
The philosophy professor, Mr. Leonard, observed that I do not mingle with people, I do not laugh, I do not go to cinema, because I was thinking of becoming a monk. So he started having dinner with me every day and talking to me.
Students really were mentored in ways that shaped their character, not just their intellect. The first female student, Eva Habib El-Nassour, set a pattern that young women students from AUC have been following for many decades.
Whenever I used to pass by Tahrir Square, I said to myself, I want to belong to this lovely place because there is something important here. They give you the chance to try everything. You know where you are, what you are.
Mr. Leonard said, there is nothing wrong with being a monk, but wouldn't it be better if you try yourself in the world so that you will be going because you have succeeded in life, not because you are escaping? That made me think.
Cairo is sometimes referred to as Dunya, the mother of the world, and it really is a civilizational crossroads.
We had all nationalities. We had the Italians, we had Greeks, we had the Armenians, we had the Jews, Egyptians, Christians, Muslims.
All there within the heart of Cairo, talking about all sorts of things.
Oh, there are some fabulous people. I think that's one of the things I liked about it. People who come at the world in a way that is idiosyncratic and no holds barred. Doris Enright Clark Shukri. She had a sense of that literature was the most important thing in the world, and she taught it with a passion.
We never spoke of a university, however, in those years. We spoke of trying to have a small liberal arts college. What we did have right from the beginning were a group of really intelligent and nicely educated students.
AUC was an eye-opener as far as the liberal arts is concerned. This idea of making connections. You look at William Blake, to see the world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wild flower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand. And eternity in an hour. So again, there is this relativity of Einstein, which can be portrayed even by a poet. It is this AUC who has allowed us to be open to different disciplines and to see patterns that connect. And you realize that this is the core of liberal arts education.
We got off the plane on September 16th, 1973. And then there was the guy with the .50 caliber machine gun aimed at the plane. We were there 20 days, and war broke out. I was teaching political science. So if I didn't talk about the war, I would have been irresponsible.
Somehow he made us all talk and argue and discuss, and that was fascinating.
Suddenly, here you are, an Egyptian who's 18, exposed to a different way of learning, to this critical thought process.
Lamont, when he first came here, and I did a paper for him, and he says, "What's this?" And he threw it at me. And he said, "Write about something you feel." And Dr. Wided, she taught us philosophy. It was Descartes. And she actually convinced me that I wasn't standing in front of her.
Well, in my case, I was spending probably, I would say, 70% of my 24 hours at university. It seems that I was a little bit hungry for every single activities that I could put my hands on. There was an excellent maestro called Dr. Mohammed Yaout. The choral group was consisting of like 20 ladies and only 2 men. I was one of them.
What I do remember is this intensive Arabic program where the teacher is almost trying to drag Arabic out of you.
There was literature, of course. There was art.
Voussoir is the term for each one of those stones. This knitting together of complex patterns, very, very thin sheets of marble, maybe just a couple of centimeters thick. This is something very much of Mamluk architecture.
There was solid state science, and then that gradually became so much more, and then the management department and so forth. We had such a good time, really such a wonderful time.
I won't be called names.
Names?
Wife, spouse, my dear, joy, jewel, love.
Each year, the students here throw a party. So Mr. Leonard said, well, you have to invite somebody. There is nothing wrong with talking to a girl. So I thought, to be clever, of the most beautiful girl in the university, Olympia Kalageorgios. She was a Greek and she was really like Aphrodite. So I said, for sure, she will say, well, I'm sorry, I have been invited. So when I approached Olympia, oh, that's kind of you, Grace. Wonderful. Oh, I am so happy you invited. And really, I was caught in that deed.
Because of the political touch, AUC was for a very long time the only American entity that was existing in Egypt.
Even during the dark days of the 1967 war, there were people who took care to protect the university, the library facilities, the physical facilities.
They thought, where did they think? They thought of going where?
That's a part of the AUC ethos, being involved in community outreach. Our social research center is more than 50 years old now. And our desert development center goes back more than 30 years.
While we are in the taxi, I told her, Olympia, look here. I do not dance. So when we arrive there, you pick up any student of who. I said, no, I will teach you. And I can never tell you how much that night made a great change in my life.
Ewart Hall was, for a long time, one of the places where things happened in Cairo. Kulthum sang there. Important people gave lectures there. It was a cultural resource of the city.
AUC is a place that has an open view to the world. AUC is a very important bridge.
فقهاء وعلماء ومفكرين السلفيين.
And I think that bridge is going stronger and longer and bigger.
For the university to have grown to the level of prominence that it has in Egypt, in the region, internationally, would be beyond anything that Charles Watson and those early dreamers could have imagined in 1919. And yet what we're seeing today is a fulfillment of that vision, and that vision has been protected and nurtured and promoted by extraordinarily dedicated people of goodwill who are, after all, the heart and soul of the institution.